Good morning. What's up? Happy Friday, y'all. Last Friday of the month. Let's get it. I got plenty of Texas Longhorn things to talk about as you start to head into your weekend. It's raining today, raining in the morning, supposed to be a little bit better in this afternoon, but I've got some Longhorn information for you that, I think you're going to like. I see a bunch of y'all are already here in the building. Of course, Money B was always in here first, as he always is. Chris Bennett, I've seen him. Mark Ruiz says good morning. Of course, Uncle Mickey is in here. Sailor Joe talking about good morning Vietnam, taking it back. Man, let's get into this action, man. Let me retweet this thing real quick because I got plenty of football things to discuss. At Zio_V, my favorite Hennessy bottle. He is in the house as well. My homegirl Stephanie is in the house as well. It's good to see all y'all, man. I'm gonna retweet this right quick, and then let's get into it because we've got a lot to discuss. Did I retweet that on my? I don't even know what I'm signing in on. I don't care. Let's move on. Good morning, man. Look, man, I have spent this week, as you know, we got to go to practice on Tuesday. We were actually supposed to go yesterday, and it ended up as I was driving into downtown Austin. They ended up canceling it, our practice availability at the last minute. So I say last minute, like a little more. I didn't see it until I don't know, about 70 minutes or so before our practice was supposed to be started. So couldn't do the show. And so, of course, I had to kind of then spend that time, get back home, and figure out. All right, I need to talk to some folk and find out what's going on. A couple of things that I may or may not have missed, and so kind of started asking around as far as like, okay, hey, who's been standing out, right? Who's been looking good, and I feel like I gave you guys a little bit of that on Tuesday as far as a visual aspect of who's been looking good. And then so we started getting into as I'm talking to a couple of different people, the subject of the receivers. And Parker Livingstone's name came up. And I was like, oh, really? Tell me more. By the way, people just, it's Parker Livingstone, not Livingstone. I see people kind of spelling it different ways. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, no. It's Parker Livingstone, not stud. I see people take the E off. And I've actually even seen it on our website by some of our writers. So Parker Livingstone, not stud. They started telling me about Parker Livingstone. And I'm like, oh, tell me more. Because I love Parker coming out of high school. I really loved his game. And I was not quite sure how that would really stack up in college, just because Sark seemed to be moving a little bit more towards the smaller, faster receivers, and he was kind of seemed to be the outlier at the time at that 6'4". He's listed at 194 now. I don't know what he was as a freshman, right? But kind of a little bit taller guy, speedster though. He absolute baller. He can play. I wasn't quite sure where he fit in, and so going into this season right now, it was kind of interesting because when we got there on Tuesday, I say this season, but in the spring, when we got there on Tuesday, Chris Bennett, how are you feeling? I wanted to check in on you. I know you're still recovering from your surgery. Are you getting a little bit better? How you feeling? And good morning, Mark, as well. And so anyway, I don't know, Chris, you just popped in my mind. But nonetheless, so when we get it there on Tuesday, we noticed that Ryan Wingo is starting on one side and Parker's starting on the other side. And so I started asking around. I said, "Okay, so what's the deal here? What makes him so good?" And look, within a couple of days, they've told me that everyone's told me that they feel like he's taking the next step. They feel really good about him. They feel really good about his progression. And here's the quote. Here's the quote that I was given. I was told he's quote, he's smart, he's reliable, he's smart, and he has taken advantage of his opportunity. And so those are now I also had somebody else tell me a couple things. Hold on, I got something in text as well. Um, Also was told that he has improved a lot with his running of his routes and his hands. I was told that as well. He's better than Kai Money. Let's not do that thing. We always do that thing that we I've joked about this before, right? I've joked about every uh, white athlete is compared to another white athlete, right? Just like every black quarterback is compared to another black quarterback, and we don't ever say like, Parker Livingstone is a better version of Colin Johnson. It's like, mine doesn't work that way. We're like, what white guy can we think of? So defensive back McCaffrey, running back McCaffrey, like dad and son. So anyway, he's not Kai Money. So let's not do that. It's better, much better than that. But he's been doing really good. He's been really hitting the ground running. When they talk about taking advantage of the opportunity, it's really interesting when we start talking about the opportunity in front of him. Because as of right now, Texas has not gone into the portal. Now the portal will open up soon, and we'll get into a conversation about that in a second, right? But right, before when we looked at last year and we looked at Texas going into the transfer portal and getting a Matthew Golden, getting Isaiah Bond, and eventually Silas Bolden shows up, right? One of the things that Sark had always talked about going into last season was like, hey, I need some guys who with some veterans, and I need some experience out there. And this year, he hasn't really gone full-fledged in that route. Now, we'll get into that in a second, right? But he hasn't gone full-fledged, 10 toes down on we need to go hard in the transfer portal and bring a bunch of guys in. Instead, they focus mostly on saying, let's just develop the guys that we have. And we feel really good about the talent. Now, there's been almost like a philosophical shift from Sark that I talked to him about one of the bowl games. The good part is Texas played in a lot of postseason stuff, so it all runs together for me. But it had to be a bowl game. It had to either be Arizona State or Ohio State. And I kind of asked him because when I looked at the receivers that were coming in, it's like this doesn't look like your typical smaller, faster guys that you seem to, always kind of have liked, and, this isn't like, you're not trying to seemingly find the next Xavier Worthy or Isaiah Bond or Matthew Golden. Like when you looked at Jamie French, when you looked at Khalil Lockett, especially when you look at Michael Terry, right? Dalen McCutcheon being kind of the outlier, you said to yourself, like, wow, you went to a lot of bigger body guys, right? This is an interesting thing that I'm noticing, right? An interesting trend. And I always try to keep up with trends, right? Trends are a thing that I pay attention to a lot. So I'm like, man, I wonder what the deal is here. So I had asked Sark about it. And he said, he goes, I've had to change a little bit, right? Because while I've always wanted fast guys competing in the SEC, I realized that we also need some bigger guys. He goes, and that's what you saw in the last recruiting cycle. He goes, to go against some of these SEC DBs, I felt like I needed to get a little bit bigger. So that's why you saw the Jamie French and the Lockett's and the Michael Terrys of the world, like just trying to get a little bit bigger. And so then that dawned on me, well, that opens up the doors for a Parker Livingstone, because it going in, a year or so ago, I'm like, which of these kids is doing his own thing? Tell me, can you guess which one? And, it's big ass Parker Livingstone out there, right? But now it almost fits into exactly what they want. A big Ryan Wingo, a big Parker Livingstone, right? And so, Ryan Wingo last year, going before last season, I think I've told y'all this afterwards. I didn't tell y'all this in real time because I didn't necessarily want to put it on a young man, but people were comparing him behind the scenes to a young Julio Jones. And that was the comparison. Now, what I didn't want to do, is come in here in August of last year and say, you know what? Next Julio Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all would have been like, dude, that's you're doing too much. You're doing way too much, right? And secondly, if he doesn't live up to that, then all y'all do is just gonna throw it in my face forever. So I said, this it's a lose lose. If he starts showing some potential, then all right, well I'll go there. But I'm gonna leave that out there for right now. But so Ryan, as you see, like kind of a bigger body receiver, but it also goes into the mode of big, but also fast, right? Because that's what we're able to see a lot of times in those routes that, this is a big guy, but he's also a fast guy. And so, and we know Parker is very fast as well, right? So you can kind of start to see that it's almost, I said this before, it's almost a better version of what Tom Herman was trying to do when he was here. Because Tom Herman liked the bigger guys, like the Colin Johnsons of the world, the little Jordan Humphreys of the world. Like he liked the bigger receivers, right? But they weren't always as fast. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know if Colin Johnson and little Jordan Humphrey are still in the NFL at this moment. One of y'all probably would know better than me. But it's almost like those are better versions because these are bigger guys. Parker's a little bit smaller, but I say smaller. He's not like 210. Like, so that's what I mean when I say a little bit small. He's listed at 194, which is a good functional weight for him, right? So you now see that this is kind of the wave of where Texas is going. And Sark, because he was interested in the development portion of it, kind of said to himself, you know what, let's just focus in on the guys that we have. And so we'll put the transfer portal over. Oh, yeah, Brennan Eagles. Thank you, Richard. That's another good one from the bigger body. I do remember Brennan. And if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, I believe the issue with Brennan was he skipped his senior season and decided to go pro. And I always felt like that was a little bit of a mistake for him because I always felt like he could have benefited for being back in college for another year, just improving your stock. Like if you're at the point where you're like day 3, and it ends up, I literally don't know. Let me see. I feel like he got picked up as a free agent with someone, but I have no clue. Okay, I'm looking here. Someone says he has been a member of the Cowboys in 2021. I don't think he was undrafted free agent. He was released. So he was released during training camp, had a tryout, then went to the Philadelphia Stars, was on a practice squad, then at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then he was released after like 2 months. So it doesn't even look like he's playing football right now. Oh yeah. I would just always wish that Brendan had stayed in college, and so hopefully he's doing well with whatever he's doing in life, and hopefully he got his degree. Because that would be really sad if not. But Sarkis got a better version of that. The Lockett's, the French of the world. Now Dalen's a little bit different because they love Dalen. And at that point, you could just, hey, you ain't got to be the biggest guy, right? It was kind of like they didn't get to Corey Moore, but they really like Dalen. And they're like, man, if we could get, I want to say Dylon, by the way. If you get the reference, I want to say Dylon. Chappelle Show reference for those who don't know. And real world, the Diddy show. What was that Diddy show called again? When he did making the band. That reference. Dylon. Anyway, Dale McCutcheon, they loved him, right? So at the end of the day, you take him, he flips from Florida State, comes over to you, the UT. At that point, you say, hey, we'll go ahead and go with it. But the good part for those guys right now, spit hot fire. The good part for these guys right now in training camp, I say spring training camp, so many damn sections of football. In spring football, right? In spring football is that 2 things. One, Texas did not go into the transfer portal as of yet. And so because they haven't gone into the transfer portal as of yet to get a wide receiver, that gives these guys some time to really establish themselves. Look at everybody in the chat spitting. I rhymes and I rip. I rips and I rhyme. We all have watched that one way too many times. We was watching that thing when we had it on DVD, right? Y'all know, you watch it on DVD. You watch it on DVD a bunch of times, man. And if you had money, I guess you watch it on Blu-ray. All of us wasn't able. Some of us we didn't have that Blu-ray thing. I was just happy to have a little DVD. I had my little DVD, hook it up to my little TV, and that was good. But I had that Blu-ray stuff. I was outside of my price zone at that point, So I'm just happy to have a 4K TV at this moment. What's happened is that I'm thinking too much. Y'all know me. I'm distracted. I distracted myself. So they didn't go in the transfer portal, right? And DeAndre Moore is kind of limited in the spring because he's coming back from an injury. So that's not a good thing per se. It was good that he'll be 100% going into the season. But what it does for some of these other guys is that it's really giving them an opportunity to really kind of show the staff like what I'm made of and what I can do. It's a real good opportunity for these guys, right? And so if you're Parker Livingstone, and you're trying to climb into that too deep, and you're trying to be a guy that they can rely on, already knowing what Ryan Wingo can do, this spring is huge for you. It's a huge spring for you. But the good part about it is when they tell me, hey, he's taking advantage of his opportunities, and multiple people are telling me he's standing out in practices. And whenever we were allowed to go, and I was able to see a little portion of the practice, and I was like, okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. It's also a good thing for DeAndre Moore, not for Dalen McCutcheon, because with DeAndre Moore kind of on the shelf, he's getting a chance to show himself in the slot. Now, all things can change. And I think things will change because the transfer portal will open up on April the 16th. Okay, I want you to take a mental note on this. Transfer portal window is April the 16th to April the 25th. All right, April the 16th to April the 25th. Some of y'all, no, we already just had spring break. So anyway, I was trying to think, what is April 16th? Why is that? Yeah, my kid's got a damn soccer tournament somewhere. So that's why I was thinking to myself, like, why is April 16th like kind of resonating with me? Because I got to be out of town for that. But I think I'll do my show from the hotel or something like that. We'll figure it out. Anyway, the transfer portal window opens on the 16th. And it'll be interesting to see what Texas does. Now, the thing I am hearing from multiple people is that there's a good possibility that Texas tries to go and pick up a receiver to kind of come in here and compete. And I just, it'd be hard for me to just think that Sark, when you look at the success he's had in the transfer portal for the last couple of years, that after going to back-to-back semifinals and having luck with the Adonai Mitchells or having luck with the Matthew Goldens, Isaiah Bond to a certain degree, right? That all of a sudden now will be the time when he's had success. This is going to be the time when Sark's like, you know what I'm going to do? Everybody thinks I'm going to do this. And I know it's been successful for me. So I'm not going to do it at all. I'm just going to throw everybody off. Like, come on now. He's done it. It's been successful for him. So you got to expect that he's going to keep it going. So you got to expect and just think rationally, okay, he's going to go back into the portal. He's going to get at least one guy to come in here and compete. And it was hard for them back in December to really go into the portal and get guys. And one of the reasons is that Texas, not a couple of things. One, around that transfer portal window, Texas is also competing in the playoffs, right? They're also in the postseason. So if you go in and bring in a bunch of dudes while you're also trying to compete for the playoffs, trying to get ready for Clemson and then Arizona State after that, you disrupt your locker room. Because I'm over here, I'm busting my ass, I'm giving it my all. And wait, y'all, you over here, you have my replacement already? You got my replacement? Oh, well then you know what? I'm out. You get what I'm saying? Like the mentality. So they had to do a good job of trying to just make sure they kept their core and their nucleus together. And the last thing they wanted to do was kind of disrupt that. And then, of course, if these guys are coming in and word starts trickling out about, hey, this guy's probably going to make this kind of money and this kind of money. And I don't ever think those numbers are fully accurate, quite honest with you. Like, I don't really trust all the NIL money discussion. Like, I don't know, something about it. I just feel like people are just making up stuff. But no matter what, now if I'm hearing this guy's coming in and he's making this kind of money and I'm sitting here and I'm busting my ass, I ain't making that kind of money. So because of where they were in the transfer portal window in December, they couldn't go as hard in the paint as they really would have liked to, right? Now you get into April, and now you kind of have a little bit more of your roster set. And so you're okay to say, all right, let me go out here and let me finish up and get the finishing touches on what we want our roster to look like in 2025. And I do believe that at some point they'll go in, they'll get a veteran guy. I don't think they're going to go get 3. Maybe 1, maybe 2 at most. Come in here and compete. No guarantees. That's the thing about Sark. It's not like you come in here and you are a transfer portal guy and all of a sudden you get to start because you're the brand new whatever on campus. That's not Sark. He's like, you can come in here, you can compete, but look at all the defensive tackles that he brought in last year. Yeah, y'all could be in the rotation. I don't mean they're going to start you over, Alfred Collin and Vernon Broughton. Those are my guys. But you could be in the rotation, no problem. So I think they'll go out and just, you got to know, man. You got to know, like, all these players are all across the country. They all got agents. All these agents are trying, they're all trying to backdoor their way. And, a lot of these agents are looking at Texas as like, shoo, one and done. Go over here, make that money and get out, right? And not only make that, make some NIL money, but really when I say make that money, I mean have a good year under Sark and then get paid in the NFL. That's really what I really mean, more so than NIL dollars, right? Because I don't think Texas is necessarily built to just be the destination point for NIL. So I think they'll go in. I think when the transfer portal window opens, I think they'll get somebody out there. Agents are always working backdoor, try to work backdoor deals with everybody, right? So I talk to agents all the time. They show interest in Texas. So, I get it. But that being said, as the conversation as relates to Parker, so far so good. And really, so far, as most of these receivers have been, pretty decent. I've talked about Wingo, we talked about the LASIK stuff, right? I've heard good things about Jamie French so far. It's early, so if I'm mentioning guys on my roll call, and you don't hear a guy mention, you're like, well, what about this guy? Like, it's practice starting on Tuesday. We got plenty of time between now and the end of the spring, so don't overreact to anything. Just take mental notes. That's what I would tell you. I would suggest just take mental notes. Don't just follow the way. If a guy continues on that certain path, great. If not, you're just like, all right, well, maybe they had a good couple of weeks and then it just kind of fizzled out. But I told you, Jamie Smith has looked good. Dale McCutcheon has looked really good. One of the things that I was told previously about him was that he has a really good football IQ. They like his tenacity. And then, Michael Terry, that's the thing. I figured I had to remind everybody of this, I think on Tuesday. As of this moment, Michael Terry wants to be a receiver. And so people can talk about H-backs and all these other kind of things. Like, he wants to be a receiver. Yeah, he's big. No matter. This is the position he wants to play. Sometimes remember, what was that? There's that quarterback at Kentucky. Y'all remember when Kentucky had a quarterback? And dude was he was like 270 pounds. I think he may have passed away, right? If I'm actually remember correctly, but you remember they used to have this really big quarterback. I mean, I really think he was like 260, 270, something crazy like that. And people just would say, well, why does he play another position? It's like, well, that's because that's the position he wants to play. And they let him play, quarterback. But I do think he passed though. Well, Michael Terry wants to play receiver. And because Michael Terry wants to play receiver, that's where he's going to stay at. So right now, as relates to the wide receiver room, everyone seems to feel pretty good about it. I know we talked about, thank you, Mark, Jared Lorenzen. Yeah, something like that, right? Is he still, yes, look at y'all, man. Look, that's why I love y'all, man. Y'all are like my chat GPT. Y'all are like my chat GPT. I don't need to, y'all got a good memory. Is he still alive? Let me just look. Okay. I'm Wiki hasn't said anything about him passing. So okay. Yes, he did. No, he did. He died in 2019. I was correct. They said Lorenzen struggled with his weight throughout most of his life, which was exacerbated following a leg injury that ended his playing career. Amid various health complications deriving from his weight, he died in 2019 at the age of 38. Damn. Yeah, he was at 285. Yeah, he did pass away. Thank you. You know, no, man, I'll just tell you. Sidebar, man, it's the one thing you just don't see in life. The one thing you don't see in life is you very rarely see people who are in their late 70s and 80s and they're severely overweight. Like you look at older people, they usually have a thinner kind of body frame. So let's all make sure we get as healthy as we can so we can live as long a life as we can, because I want all y'all around for a long time. So y'all, especially as I get older and can't remember stuff, I'm really gonna need y'all to be around. So let's all get in shape. Let's go out for a walk today, and let's all take care of our health. Okay, me included. You know that I gotta take care of myself. Okay, anyway, all of us gotta take care of ourselves. We all got different strokes. We all got different battles. So I'm working on mine as well. But overall, the receivers are looking good. Overall, I've been hearing good reports about the receivers. It's early, even though we talked about some of the drop passes. It's like they're young kids. Of course, they're going to drop some passes. They're young. Can't overreact to those kind of things. Receivers are going to drop balls. Quarterbacks are going to miss throws. But nonetheless, Parker Livingstone, as I wrap that portion up, Parker Livingstone has been doing really good. Staff really loves him. It's a guy to keep an eye on going forward. Last thing I'll say on him, can't say today that I know for sure he's a starter. Like, just so we're clear, it's a long time between now and end of August, beginning of September. Like, it's a long time between then. But he's a guy that I would just say, but I'm telling you, like, hey, just take a mental note on him because he's having a good spring so far. Parker Livingstone, man, the myth, the legend, the cowboy himself, is doing absolutely fantastic. Yes, shout out to Sean Adams. Had my Coliseum scan, and thankfully everything good. Yeah, man. You know what? I had my Coliseum scan because of Sean Adams as well. I did do that for the heart and everything. And in fact, forget how many years I'm supposed to do it. I mean, do you remember how many years, every couple of years? How was it supposed to be? Every 5 years, every 10 years you're supposed to do? Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna do mine again pretty soon. I did go to the doctor though, and I did get a good report like about a month ago, and all the things were good with my heart. They said so I had like a less than like 3% chance of having any kind of heart failures, heart issues over the next 10 years, I think it was the number they gave me. They also said my liver was great, which I found to be quite hilarious. It helps I drink a lot of water, though. It helps I drink a lot of water. But it was like, your liver is great. You don't remind us of it. Your liver doesn't show anybody that looks like they are a heavy drinker. I was like, I don't know who did the testing that day, but hey, keep that person on payroll. But no, I drink a lot of water, so that probably does help to kind of flush it out. Let me tell you a couple of other things I learned today, though, this week. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of other little cool notes that I got. So let's talk about transfer portal for a second. Let's talk about transfer portal for a second. It's early. We got to see what happens, right? So we got to see who comes available in the portal. April 16th was when the portal opens. So far, I've heard 3 positions that Texas is going to look at. I feel like Bonita Betrayal. Remember Miss Bonita from A Living Color? She like, I ain't want to gossip. You ain't heard it from me. I feel like I heard Texas is looking at 3 different positions in the transfer portal. I ain't want to gossip. You ain't heard it from me. No, you did it. It's Friday. Hey, man, I call it Fiesta Friday, Fun Friday, man. We got to have a good time, man. Life's too short not to be smiling and happy and enjoying ourselves. So I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm having a good week. My boys are doing great. We're having fun, man. So I just dropped off both my kids today, man. I was just loving them, just looking at them, just so happy, man. And young men that they're becoming. So I'm in a real good mood today, y'all. So forgive me if I'm a little bit, kind of acting a fool a little bit. The 3 positions that I heard that they're looking into are going to be receiver, tight end, and a defensive tackle interior portion. Okay, so receiver kind of self-explanatory, right? We just kind of did 30 minutes on that, bringing in someone who's a little bit more of a veteran. And so because so you want that. Tight end is going to be the interesting one too. As long as they don't bring in a tight end from Alabama, I think they'll be all right. Just don't bring in no more tight ends from Alabama. They transfer from Alabama. Nah, we good. No, but just for a little bit more of a veteran I think all this is like veteran presence, right? It's just to make sure, hey, do we have the best that's out there? Like you have your Jordan Washington, that's great. Who else is there, right? So bringing that, and in the defensive tackle position, they already got some guys, but they brought in like 3 last year, something crazy like that. So it was like Lole, Norton, and I feel like there was a third one that was in the mix that I can't remember at this moment. There's a third one that's just kind of escaping me. So there's a potential that they bring in one of those. But again, what the thing is with that, wait and see. All this, everything I'm telling you today is just mental notes. I just want y'all to take mental notes. God is good, Mike Torres, all the time. And all the time, y'all can finish the rest. Everybody else like, what the hell just happened here? Mike Torres said God is good all the time. And all the time, I need y'all to fill out the rest. Fill out the rest, y'all. Let's have everybody, let's have our diversity training today. So that's one thing I think we need to keep an eye on, because you still have Will Randall, you still have Spencer Shannon, right? And those guys are going to be competing. And then of course they are very high on Nick Townsend and what he may be, right? But he's going to be a freshman. So you're talking about a lot of young guys at that position. And so what are they going to do as far as that? So I would keep an eye on tight end as far as that goes. As far as the transfer portal is concerned, of course, defensive tackle. And then we'll see. I haven't heard anything about offensive line. That doesn't seem to be something that they're going to kick the tires on. We may or may not see what happens. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Mr. 512. Man, we could do a whole bunch of these things, right? When I think about Jesus, my what cries out? My what cries out? We're taking the church in a second, though. I haven't heard anything about edge. They always are looking for different linebackers. You never know as far as that's concerned. And then DBs, you can never have enough of those that are out there as well. And another thing, couple of things. I'm just going down the list, man. This is like Friday, just dumping a bunch of stuff. So y'all know one of the things that I have complained about, right? I have been upset about. It's been one of my nitpicks, one of my huge nitpicks, right? Has been 2 scholarship field goal kickers, 2 scholarship punters, and 1 long snapper. And I was talking about that on Tuesday, right? And I was like, man, that's too much. It's too much. But I've talked about it all season, right? I'm like, we're doing too much at this position. Like, I know I'm old school. I'm old school. I'm back in the day of school where, look, man, your scholarship, your kicker he's a walk-on person. He's a smart kid, and he walked onto the program. He kicks, and then a few years later, you give him a scholarship, right? That Bert Auburn, right? What we didn't know was that when Bert Auburn actually got a scholarship, that following season would not be his best season. Texas, from a statistical standpoint, was one of the worst field goal kicking teams in the conference last year, ranked 15th in the conference, also 15th in punting, right? So really was not that good. So I've been like, look, man, we got too many people and too many scholarships there. So I'm talking to somebody behind the scenes, and I'm like, yo, that's too many people, right? I was told they're like, yeah, we agree. It's probably too many. So I'm like, 5 scholarships for five for and 2 up the position. You go on backup kickers. You got 1 kicker that does kickoffs and another. It's nothing wrong. It's not to say you can't do kickoffs, right? And it's not to say Will Stone isn't valuable, but at some point, I mean, your kicker should be able to do it all, and your punter should be able to do it all. So here's what I can try to safely say. How can I say it? I'm not 100% convinced that when we get to the fall, that we're going to have 2 field goal kickers on scholarship, 2 punters on scholarship. You'll have the long snapper. St. Louis has actually done pretty good as a long snapper, so I don't think you have to worry about him. But I think I'm reading tea leaves, right? And look, if I end up being wrong, so be it. I'll admit it. But I'd be surprised if we got 4, and I'm talking about 4 specialists: Bert Auburn, Will Stone, Michael Kern, Jack Bowmeister, all of those guys on scholarship. There, I'm just sensing these people need to win a job. I'm sensing that. Those guys need to win out. But I'm sensing it could be lose or leave town. I'm sensing that. And by the way, if you feel like you're number 2 in the competition and your transfer portal does open, well, you probably would do yourself a favor to see if you can find a home anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just anyway. Just so you're not playing from behind or just wasting your time if your desire is to kick. Now, if your desire is just to be at UT, that's cool. But I just don't sense that. I don't sense that that's going to be the thing. I feel like these guys need to win out. Someone needs to win the field goal competition. Someone needs to win the punting competition. And I'm just not 100% sure they're going to be 4 scholarships taken up by 2 different positions. Just don't. It doesn't feel that way when I talk to people behind the scenes. I don't think people are ready to put that out there. And when I say out there, like make it as definitive as loser leaves town. But it's just when I'm talking to folk, I'm like, Sometimes it's not what people say, is what they don't say. And when they don't say, we're going to have that many in the fall, I'm like, or they're not, or then they're not denying it by saying, but so anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Nonetheless, I'm gonna keep an eye on that one. What else do I have for you? What else can I give you? I'll give you one more thing. I haven't even tweeted this out yet. So don't try to run to Twitter and steal my thunder. Don't y'all run to Twitter and say I was said this before I get to tweet it. At least let me tweet it first, and then y'all can retweet it after I do it. I haven't put it. I haven't put this out there in the. I put it on Orange Bloods last night. I haven't put it out there for the general public yet, but I will. I'm gonna give y'all one more thing. I'm gonna give you one more thing before I head out. One more thing. It's gonna be Quinn related. What the hell just happened? What the hell did I just do? Okay, it's gonna be Quinn related. Archers look great. Archers look great, Jake. If you're asking, Archers look great. Damn it, man! I opened up you click on something, and then all of a sudden now you opened up like a new window with the same thing. So now I got to go back. I messed it up. All right, I'm gonna give you some Quinn stuff. And y'all know that I guess somebody had tweeted out something about like Quinn didn't talk to the media, and they didn't realize that Quinn actually had to like talk to some NFL teams for the pro day. But and then I guess he eventually had to apologize for it. I forget who it was. I can see the face, but it's inconsequential to the story. So when Quinn had his pro day this past week, I just want you guys to take mental notes. Everything today is just we'll call it Mental Note Friday. Okay. He met with the Jets, the Steelers, and New Orleans the night before his pro day. Okay. He met with the New York Jets, Pittsburgh Steelers, and New Orleans Saints the night before his pro day. The day of his pro day, he then met with the Miami Dolphins. Okay. All right. Mental notes, right? Jets, Steelers, New Orleans, Dolphins. Okay. All teams like that have an opportunity to have a quarterback sit for a couple of years or at least a year before they want him to compete for the starting job. Now, who's he going to work out for? Because I had to ask about that, right? Are you ready? He's going to work. He's going to go and go to these 3 facilities so far on the books: the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Colts. Visits will start next week. So he will go work out for the Cowboys. He's going to work out for the Raiders, and he's also going to work out for the Colts. So bringing you in for a workout means something. So already spoken to Jets, Steelers, and New Orleans. We'll work out for the Cowboys, Raiders, and Colts. And some believe when the day is done that New Orleans might just be that dude. That dude. I was reading some of you guys in the comments. The Lawrence may end up being that team. But that's where Quinn is at as of this moment. It's looking more and more like if he can make the 3rd round, that would be great. But he might be somewhere between that 3rd and 4th round pick. And I think that, once teams get past looks like it's seemingly like once teams get past the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and maybe Jackson Dart, then it's just a matter of like, okay, will we wait until like 3rd roundish to pick up a quarterback? Like, is there value there? All those kind of things, right? So anyway, that's part of your mental notes as well. Just keep your mental notes that are out there for that portion as well. Mike Torres just said, "What round do we think Quinn goes in?" If my thought process is 3rd, if I'm saying 3rd, then Oscar's saying second. I'm thinking third or fourth. I would love for him to be second now. I would love for him to be second. I would love for him to be second. I would love for him to be hell. Loves to be late first when it's all said and done. Now the second round might be interesting because if you go second round, that's after day one, teams have had a chance to think about it, and maybe they go ahead and pick them up. As far as that's concerned, but it's so tough because then there's going to be guys that they may have had a first round grade on that slipped to the second round. And so now and that happens all the time. Like I had a first round grade on him. We made our selection at pick number 15. And then the day was done. And now there's 2 or 3 guys that we had a first round grade on. And we're like, damn, this person available in the second round. So then, it all depends on what round of a grade that they put on Quinn and then it goes down, right? So I've seen these NFL rooms and basically just imagine like a whiteboard. Now, I mean, I'm sure it's computerized, right? But back then, I still feel like I watched the NFL draft. They have a whiteboard. You don't see it on TV. It's because they don't want people to always see their board. Now, some people have shown other people's boards. It's like, but they'll have the guys that they're interested in, right? And then they'll say we have a first round grade on him, list of guys. Second round, list of guys, right? They'll go through all of them, and then you start to erase them as it's all said and done. And it's kind of like how you would do your fantasy football draft, right? And so all of a sudden now you're looking at like, damn, first round guy, he's hit second. There's we're in the fourth, but we had a third round grade on him or a second round grade, but he was in the fourth, like blah, 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 blah. So it all depends on what the grade is for each particular team. And I would just say that the other thing real quick, just to always remember as it relates to the draft, when it comes to, and remember, I said as a person who covered the NFL for a number of years. So just always remember that the pre-draft conversations, the pre-draft buzz, all that kind of stuff, don't put so much stock in it, because at the end of the day, you're going to look at a mock draft and I guarantee, I challenge you to just this year, whoever you think is a good person at the whole draft day, just print out their mock draft and then just go through it. And you're going to see after the first couple of picks, everything's getting blown up. And then all the things that they believe to be true are not true. And teams will bring in someone for a workout and not have any intention on drafting them. And then there'll be another team that never brought in a player for a workout, and they draft them because they just didn't want other people to know what they were thinking about. So there's a lot of shell games that go on. There's a lot of teams put out things through reporters that may be correct, may not be correct. So as relates to Quinn, who knows? Like, you'll have your guarantees that check the box, like a Jahdae Barron, like that's fine. But in Shedeur, it's just a matter of like somewhere he doesn't know, but he knows he's going somewhere high, not particularly the team. So just though as relates to Quinn, could it be second? Sure. Could it slip to the third or fourth? Yeah. If it slips past the fourth, is it tragic? Hell yeah. So let's hope for the young man it doesn't go that route. But anyway, those are the teams that have Quinn in mind. And as of that, y'all, man, we're done, man. We are done, man. I'm happy. I was thinking about this today, and I wanted to do a small little toast to y'all guys before we head out. So this is a small little toast, right? This is for you guys who are listening in the listening audience. Okay. I just want to tell y'all once again, just to tell you sincerely, thank you. I appreciate you guys watching the show. Appreciate you guys supporting the show. I got my tahine, Mike knows my girl's got a huge influence, right? But I just want to tell you, I appreciate you guys coming in here pretty consistently, watching the show, especially in the off season. Like, I know it's not there's a lot of things going on. I know you have a lot of options of things that you could be doing and not be doing. And so I appreciate y'all just watching it, supporting it. Money B's always in here early. Chris Bennett's in here. Stephanie's in here. South End Zone Queen, like my man Tort, Nate. Like I go down the list. Like I know all of y'all when I see it, the Oscars, the Jakes, like the Zio_V's. Like I could go down and I'm probably missing somebody. And so I apologize for any of the people that I've missed that's there. But the Brandons of the world, like all of y'all who are there, Barb's 10, like it's just all of y'all. I see y'all every day and I appreciate you. And again, Binks is always in here, Green Lantern, the old school OG himself, always comes in here. Darian's is in here, all of y'all, Chris Moore, Richard, like I just want to tell you, like, I appreciate you. I know I may have missed some names and I apologize for the names that I did miss, but nonetheless, Overweight Lover, appreciate all of y'all. So this is a cheers to y'all. Thank you so much. I want y'all to go out, have a fantastic weekend. Seriously, be safe. Uber, don't get no DUIs, no none of that. We don't need no problems, right? But go out, have a safe weekend. I'm gonna be in soccer starting tonight with my son. We got 3 games on Saturday. My youngest son he's got his flag football thing on Sunday. So my young running back, I'm gonna see if I can put something together and show y'all next week of him. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. So this is a cheers, salute to all of y'all. I know y'all like. I don't have a. There you go. Real quick. Cheers to you guys. Thank y'all. Have a fantastic weekend. Remember what I always say: live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. Go out. Have a great weekend, y'all. Be safe. I love all of y'all. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate all your love.